in from the western side as a four-man team. They're looking very strong here in this position. And what a valiant try and effort with that crash out of Inco. But yeah, it did not go their way. That medkit took forever to pop off, and they managed to get it. All the meanwhile, Power has been sitting there chilling. They've racked up 5 elimination points for themselves.
Managed to pick up some point. I mean, launching themselves off the bottom of the tables. It's really quite tight at that pack. So good news for them. HVVP down to 2 on the northern side. Meku, Tixi, heavy hitters for the squad. We've seen how impactful they can be. They are in this next zone, but they have a lot of field to cover here. 4 limbs, and Evos not going to want this one to get away from them. Their chance at the chicken dinner.
Oh, the Knights are still alive too on the south side.
They're still pushing him. You know, they've been biding their time. They've been chilling.
Yeah. Oh, they got the chopsticks too. The end of the chopsticks in zone. That's actually a very good position given how small the circle is. Luckily for the side of HVVP, they also get the edge of zones, shifting right up north of them. Now, Alpha 7, I do imagine they're going to end up taking a fight if they could get the opening onto. Yep, just as I say it, Fireflux, they get an opening onto them. Is the push coming out now?
M24 in the hands of Mafioso, looking to take a couple helmets. Maybe a little bit more than that if he's lucky. Fireflux playing central on the area. Still as 4, but taking a little bit of damage. We'll be able to res back up. Staying alive for now. Donuts USG. We'll have to leapfrog forwards. They have got that forward outposts in Noato.
And it's down to Evos and Alpha 7 now to make the next move. We did see Alpha 7 looking and eyeing the very top northern edge of zone. They're either going to take this and sweep to the north, or they have to take the full committed fight against Fireflux. But Fireflux does have 4, so even for Alpha 7, that's going to be a tough fight because they're going to have to crash into a very hunkered down and defensed up position out of Fireflux.
Sprays onto the vehicle for power. And these buildings, very, very valuable. Still 4 of them alive. Naoto. Donuts USG takes heavy damage, but stays behind the cover, gets back in. Wants to pop some healing. Coops spotted out by Evos there on the southwest side, and it's going to move away from them. We'll have to leave the chopstick finally.
The Alpha 7 tried to do a sneak play to get closer, but that did not work. And now Spec also knocked. I think the Knights are okay though. They're just, you know, trying to play a little bit louder, peeking their heads up and over the chopsticks to find some damage. And here's Alpha 7 play now. They are going to go ahead and still continue with that push. It's a 3v4 as more and more Alpha 7 players get taken out.
Teams out in the open field starting to get cut down, scythed through by the sightlines available. Tixi spotted. Really solid spray there from top coming through. Surprising that he was able to manage to pull that one off. Should be resable in the position for HVVP, but still a slowdown. It might allow Godlike Stalwart to get a little bit more of a better position on this north side.
Knights hold strong. Still with 4 up. Evos forced out of their side of the chopstick will go down to 1 member. Redface, last one up. Power still looking good, picking up another point, up to 6 now with 4 people up with the strongest position and compound left in the zone.
Power on the southeast side trying to bring it back. We talked about how Fireflux are doing really well on their elimination count. Maybe Power are going to be able to pick this one up. There's 6 limbs already as well. Towards the bottom of the tables, it would be a really good result to catapult up those standings at the end of day 1. Donuts USG spotted out by Tixi. They did get back up to 2 on the north side, but have to move.
They could maybe prone their way in. I think the grass is already rendered for the side of Power, so they won't be able to see clearly if the side of HVVP try to prone in, but Power is sitting so comfortable. They could watch every which direction they want to with no pressure. So they might spot something out as USG finally losing the zone behind this tree. They're going to try and do a smoke path and run their way in. But yeah, Fireflux now taking shots at those smokes. One player goes down. Lufa last up.
Hand off the meds, send it forwards. I mean, you're going to take the L there either way. Fortunately, will fall down. So 5 teams remain now. Fireflux at 4, Pittsburgh Knights and Power all at 4, all in that red zone, that elimination bracket. So a really solid result for all 3 of these teams.
Oh, they managed to find a finish onto Fireflux. The Knights managed to take one down. That is a huge mistake when you're in Fireflux's position with so much cover. Getting knocked, sure, it's fine. But getting knocked and finished, that is a huge, huge loss for the side of Fireflux. They're up to 13 eliminations though, which is great. But when it comes down to the final 3 teams, you would want to have 4 because the other 2 teams, the Knights and Power, with 4 alive.
I don't think anyone would have called this final circle, the 3 teams alive here. Fireflux, Pittsburgh Knights and Power, but here we are in that very timeline. Pittsburgh Knights and Power at 4, Fireflux on 3.
I do think the Knights is in the worst spot though. Not likely to get the next circle, and all eyes on them. If they have to leave that chopstick ditch, there is no cover. It's all flat ground. Their vehicles are inside the ditch. They're not going to be able to use anything. They could drop a wall of smokes, but that is just going to insinuate Power to spam smoke so extremely hard. I don't think the Knights can manage to make it out of this one, not as a full squad at least.
Blooming that smoke. They do still have that edge to play the cover. The backlines of Power will have to move potentially a little bit faster on this next circle. So might be a little bit of an issue for their sight lines, but they do have those buildings to move towards.
Good zone for Power here. Majority control. Fireflux will have to move out of cover. They do have like maybe a few ridges just close to them, but easily in nade range, especially with that watchtower position that one of the Power member has. This is the game for Power. If they lose this, I would have to say it's because it was a throw. And Coops, if anyone can get an opening, it would be Coops. Is the Knights going to make a move off that? They kind of have to. Zone is starting to close.
Kante has the sight line. Swapping the weapons back and forth. Can't quite decide what he wants to go for. M4 is the selection in the end. Spots Xenox, move up and hit the deck behind the buggy, jumps into the vehicle. Oh, clipping the roof there with the bullets is really going to hamper them. Not able to land the shots over towards Fireflux either, and Power's position is slipping just that little bit. That crate that could be moved forward to by the Pittsburgh Knights could be very, very valuable. They're out in the open now. Spec hits the deck. Watch the drop shot, but Solus is on the ball for Fireflux. And again, in the watchtower, Power rain down bullets. And it looked like it was a little bit ropey for a while, but now they're starting to put the pieces together. The puzzle is taking shape, and the Power is starting to turn up to 11 here. All 4 of them still alive. They will wipe out the Pittsburgh Knights with 5 eliminations, and Fireflux now have the full attention of Power.
Oh, the nade's raining in. It's getting close. We've got 2 more people pushing up. Another nade hit. It is all but said and done. They will get the revive, but I think this is it. Power will end up taking this game.
Catch, the last standing for the squad. A fearsome player in his own right will be able to find one, but position is now known and a sliver of HP is there. Last shots land, and it's Power to end the day with a chicken dinner.
Wow. Just wow. You don't take a hot drop with Nova and you end up getting a chicken dinner.
Look at that.
What a drastic difference in performance for the Power team on Erangel. No hot drop, no going out first, and you end up getting the chicken now, albeit they got so heavily zone blessed. They made 1 rotation, and that's where the zone ended. All the way through, it just kept closing and closing on that compound, which, by the way, is such a strong compound. And with the way the zone played out, they had full control of every single team. No pressure on them whatsoever. So great win for them, and I'm glad they took the win because I don't think any team is going to get that lucky again. So hopefully they'll take this and run with it and manage to bring themselves out of the bottom rankings.
They got a whole host of eliminations to go with it. I mean, look at that. What's that? Like 15 elims, something like that? Yeah, 15. will be the total for them on that chicken dinner. So they're able to get 30 points on the game, and that is massive. I mean, currently, I think the bubble sits at around 30 points on the overall standings. So the fact that you're able to, with one game, put yourself towards that line, if not over it, I imagine they are over it now after that, is really, really solid.
Yeah, great game out of Power. We've seen teams like that get zone blessed and they, mess up somehow. So they at least executed that well. Good game for the Knights too. Not an easy one, but they managed to, show signs of life on the last one. HVVP, this is probably their worst game, but still picked up points.
Yeah, doing quite a lot of work there. Power, obviously, getting massive points on board. Fireflux as well, with huge elimination count in the bottom spots. It seemed like it was the bottom of the tables to close out the day for us in style, with Power taking the chicken dinner.
And the legendary Power Esports wins the last match of the day, and oh boy, did they need it.
Damn, it's amazing what happens when you don't hot drop a Nova, right? They did what you wanted in the second Erangel game. They learned from their mistakes. They dropped a little bit further south. Yes, they got a decent bit of circle luck. We have to admit that. But even when they had that compound, they were popping shots in all directions, and they had, I think, up until phase 5, 5 or 6 eliminations, so it showed they were proactive at least.
That's that right there. What you just mentioned is what we love to see out of these teams, right? For them to be able to finish off with 15 eliminations, 30 points total,
yeah,
that is so massive for this team, considering that before this game, I think they were in 15th place or somewhere along there. And then for players to watch, I mean, HVVP has just been doing work. Tixie, we saw what he was able to do in some of those matches. And Magic, too. I mean, you were talking about it, Imperium, when we were watching the matches.
Man, HVVP, they didn't stop, right? They didn't stop. We had multiple games where it took multiple teams to take them out. John mentioned it, Zute mentioned it, we've all said it. They are absolutely enormous today. Tixie has slayed.
Take a look here at the overall rankings here at the end of day number 1. HVVP going to keep that lead.